Let's go. Hey, this is Gale Nelson, President and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami, and the host of a Little in Common podcast. No matter our experiences, where we grew up, how we grew up, we all have a little in common. And today, so pleased to have with me today, Kayla Moran, Florida attorney, entrepreneur, and founder of Kayla Moran Law. Kayla, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Now, Kayla, you have a very interesting background. We're going to get into all of that good stuff. But what I love about you is, one, you got just a great family. We love Brandon. You know who Brandon is, right? Your baby brother.
Yeah. I think I know him.
You think you know him a little bit. So what's the biggest argument you and Brandon have ever gotten into? Let's just jump right in with the hot stuff.
I'll give you a funny story.
Okay, funny story. I like the way you spun that.
He was 7, so I must have been like 11 or something. And we were watching TV, and I asked him for a cup of water. And he was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, that was really fast. Like, I didn't have to ask him twice. He was like willing to go get it. I was like, okay, thanks so much. I went to take a sip, and I was like, this tastes funny. What did you do to it?
Oh, my goodness.
He had put dish soap in it.
Oh, he was like ready to give you the...
Yeah, and he was so excited about it. And there was a couple other bodily fluids that were in there too.
Oh,
I was like... Nobody was home, or I don't know where my parents were, but I just got so mad at him. I was like, are you trying to poison me?
I was about to say that.
Like, I don't know how much of what he...
I got to talk to Brandon.
How did he do it so quickly?
He's like, sure, right here.
He was ready.
He had the poison on the ready.
He was ready. So I think just like our biggest fights are usually just sabotaging each other. We just love to mess with each other.
I love
honestly,
that.
It's all
but
good.
Deep down inside, nothing but love.
Yeah. We will go from pulling each other's hair out to 5 minutes later we're laughing about something. So
he can poison you, but nobody else can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, Kayla, your background. Tell us a little bit about your background, and because it's very interesting, especially as it relates to discipline. And we talked about pre-show. We talked about sports and focus and how those transferable skills really relate to business as well. So tell us about your background.
Yeah, transferable skills is like one of my favorite things
ever.
Oh,
that's how your eyes light up.
Yeah, but so my dad, I don't know if Brandon's ever told you this, but our dad is a Marine.
Okay.
And
my brother's a Marine, a little in common. Yeah. My brother's Marine.
There you go. Operation Desert Storm, so 91.
My brother was Desert Storm.
But before that, he grew up dancing in the subways of New York for a couple of months, a year when he first came to the U.S., so he grew up always being interested in the arts. I was actually listening to musicals all morning. Like, that's, I don't know, some days I get is that my brother has done musical theater. I was a competitive dancer my entire life, and that came from my dad. And you know, when we were little, my brother and I both got put in the arts, and it was really important to my parents that we had somewhere to go after school. And it wasn't all academics, that we got to have fun, we got to express ourselves creatively. And I fell in love with dance. I was never as athletic, I think, as I wanted to be. I love watching the World Cup. I love watching soccer,
Incredible.
But I have no athletic ability
Who's
whatsoever.
Your team?
Ecuador, sadly.
There you
we got kicked out by Mexico, but I'm glad that England avenged us. But we'll see. I'm curious to see who goes all the way. We were talking earlier about hopefully Norway. I have a really good feeling about Norway.
Talk about fandom, right?
Yeah, the underdogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, dance was just always, you know, you had to show up, you had to be there on time, you had to look presentable, posture, how to dress yourself. Like, there's little life skills, like you said, transferable skills. It applies now into going to an office or going to an interview or how to show up on camera. And those are things that I do every single day. I'm meeting with CEOs like you. I'm meeting with other businesses. I'm going to banks. I'm speaking on panels with big Fortune 500 companies, and so I need to know how to speak to anybody. And I think dance really gave me that ability to not be afraid of anyone and how to present myself. I with the lights, you can't see who's off stage, but you're performing. You have to be on, and they always say, like, if you're on the wings and you can see the audience, they can see you. So knowing kind of when I can turn off a little bit and when I can be on. And how to speak, how to, be gracious even when I'm in pain or injury or something goes wrong, or if I drop a prop, I can't go and pick it up. I have to keep dancing even if now I don't have something in my hand. Like those little skills really do transfer over to life, because you're not always going to have every tool or be prepared, and not every company has the most resources as to when you left prior to that, but knowing how to adapt and be flexible, which is also the Marine Corps motto, adapt. Adapt, improvise, overcome. My dad always taught us that growing up.
There you go, and Semper Fi.
Yeah.
Semper Fidelis, Latin, always faithful.
Yeah, and then the Latin, and then legal is all Latin. So there's a lot of little, what's red strings, red string theory. I am a big believer in that.
This connectivity.
Yeah.
Transferable skills, connectivity. So we're coming in hot with this podcast. Look at this, a little in common. U.S. Marine Corps, your dad, my brother. My brother was in Desert Storm and Desert Shield. Okay. They may even know each other. Who knows?
Maybe.
But this is just really, so thank you, Dad.
Did you grow up in Miami too, or where did you grow up?
I grew up in Toledo, Ohio.
Okay, so my he was reserve, so I think everybody in his platoon was from here, but they might have met overseas.
So my brother was stationed at Camp Pendleton in San Diego.
Okay, my dad was Lejeune.
Boot camp. Camp Lejeune. Yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's awesome. That is so awesome. How old were you when you first started dancing?
I think I was 3.
Wow.
I don't think I really took it seriously until I was 5.
Right.
But, I think
that mature age of 5, I'm real serious about this thing now.
Yeah. One thing I've been learning a lot is your relationship with money is established by the age that you're 7.
Wow.
You're so young.
Yes.
So we think 5 years old, they're very young, but in reality, kids are very aware of what's going on.
They really are.
They see a lot more than we think they do. And oftentimes, we were just talking about this too, they don't always have the opportunity to express themselves. People don't ask them. They think, oh, how was school today? How old are you? Oh, do you like that TV show, that cartoon? But they're seeing everything. They're hearing all the conversations that us as adults are having. And
they're processing very quickly.
Yeah, they have a lot more to say that I feel like they don't.
What I love about our conversation here with Kayla Moran of Kayla Moran Law here on the Little in Common podcast. Check this out, Kayla. Before I came to Big Brothers Big Sisters, I ran a school for juvenile delinquent boys, ages 13 to 18.
Okay.
All of them had broken the law. Then they would send them to me. 24-hour facility. Most of my staff were athletes who didn't make it to the pros, but they wanted to help kids and could relate to kids and all of that. I had to challenge them on the maturity, the adults. Now, what's interesting, we gave all the young men, I didn't call them clients, I didn't call them inmates, didn't call them offenders. I called them students. And they responded to that positive messaging. Watch where I'm going with this from a legal standpoint. We gave them a moral development scale. These mental health folks came in and they said by the age of 7, to your point, at that age of 5, in terms of money, by the age of 7, just your moral development, what you consider right, what you consider wrong. I'm not going to take Kayla's coffee because that's Kayla. That doesn't belong to me. That's not my toy. But I can play with Kayla and we can share it. So it was fascinating that these young men who were now teenagers, their sense of morality and the parenting, the mentoring, that in some cases, unfortunate, that there were some hiccups along the way because of decisions, sometimes not even their own decisions. It framed how they moved as an adult. What's your take on that?
Oh, I agree. I think a lot of times, and they say this in schools, and as an educator, you know this, it starts at home. It's not just the teachers. The teachers, they have a very important role, but a lot of that can be undone if at home they're not being taught that. I work with creators and talent managers, and we'll probably talk about that, but a lot of my friends are sports agents, and they work with NIL, college athletes, and they are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, 6-7 figures as kids in college, and they are not saving a dime of it because no one has ever taught them how to do that. And it starts because their parents don't have good relationships with money. So they're hearing that at all times. And so I agree, education starts at home, and we're picking up on, if mom and dad are stressed about money and can't make rent and the bills can't get paid, then you grow up with an anxiety of money. Mm-hmm. And even if you make a lot of money, you're not going to respect money or have the same relationship with money as someone who didn't grow up that way. And I think that's why often kids primarily end up in the systems or, are failed by them because they don't have the resources and nobody takes the time to educate them and really uneducate and relearn and reteach. And I think I see it a lot with my clients, I'm constantly, the biggest thing, my mission statement has always been to empower creators or empower entrepreneurs. And I give them the tools, the legal tools. They're there to help you if you know how. Like, rules are meant to be broken and rules are meant to be bent. And it's learning when and where and when the facts say you can push and pull.
Right.
And so, you know, how can I educate them and how can I empower them to make the best decisions for them? It's not, this is right or wrong. It's, you know, okay, maybe let's not do that. And how about let's do this instead?
That's right. And so what you value, and we are influenced. Let's talk about being an influencer as you are. And the people, the experiences, the exposure or lack thereof influences how we move. And so when you were in during law school, you became a blogger and an influencer. Tell us about that journey, that process. And you did all content stuff, capturing content this morning. So that's every day for you, right?
Yeah, it is every day. I don't get dressed like this every day. Some days
all right. So thank you
don't.
So what's the norm? Let's go behind. Let's go a little BTS here. What's up?
I mean, my parents love to say that I don't brush my hair because I just wake up and roll out of bed.
You wake up and roll.
I mean, I have clients that work with Korean skincare brands. So, you know, I wake up at 8 a.m. and I've had emails all night, and it's because it's 8 p.m. over there. So, you know, I'm sometimes I try to have boundaries with that, but there's days where I'm working all hours. And to your point, we're all influencers, right? Influencer has gotten such a dirty reputation. Right. It's such a bad word. But we're all influencing each other. And I think the blogging thing goes back to, so how it really, the initial touch point was I had just turned 20. I'll never forget this. And my birthday is November. It was January. It was like my final year of college, like calendar year of college. And I ended up graduating that December. So I graduated a semester early. And my dad had sent me a Business Insider article of, you know, 10 things to do before you turn 30. And I was like, hey, dude, I just turned 20. Like, give me a minute. Like, give me a minute. But I remember I was in my contract class because I was a legal studies major. And I was reading that article and I was like, like one of the items was to start a blog and start sharing your life experiences with people and like kind of have a public journal. And this was to your point, 2018. And I was like, I feel like I have a lot to say and I'm about to go study abroad this summer and I love to travel. And I've always been the kid that, hey, can you braid my hair? Hey, can you do my makeup? Hey, can you do this? Hey, where'd you get that? So I was influencing people from a very young age. People always cared to have my take on something. Not because I knew what I was talking about, but I think because I was so convincing.
Yes.
You know, again, going back to dance, I've always been a very confident person and I have a lot of conviction. So people take that at face value. And so people respected what I had to say. And I thought this is a really great outlet for me because I know my dance career is coming to an end. You know, I stopped dancing at 17 when I graduated from high school, and I danced a little bit in college in like the sorority competitions and things like that. But I was 20 now. Like, I knew that time was going to come to an end, and I was really sad about it. And I was like, I need a creative outlet. I need a way to express myself. So blogging really became that. And then 2 years later, by the time I was in law school, TikTok starts happening, and you start hearing these buzzwords of influencer, and people are making money sharing their life online and their opinions. And I always knew that I wanted to be a lawyer since I was very young, but I wanted to keep that creative outlet as a way to express myself beyond work. And because I've always been someone who has a lot of interests. I like sports, I like traveling, I like food, I like culture, I love going and experiencing new things, and I wanted to have a place to talk about it that, you know, at the time, I never wanted to be in a courtroom, but I did expect to go into corporate law. So I was like, okay, I need to have something that's fun outside of like negotiating contracts all day. It's funny because I do that now, but I get to negotiate contracts for fun things, which
I love that.
I always said I wanted to be a lawyer for a lifestyle company, and I think I'm kind of the modern version of that in a way.
And so when you think about the passion you have and just, again, you're having fun doing what you would do.
To your point, what you said,
anyway.
if I ever stop having fun, I'm going to go do something else.
There it is.
I'll figure it out. I want to have other businesses. I want to own rental properties. I want to have a family. I want to travel. There's so much more I want to do. Being a lawyer is not the only, it's not my whole identity.
And so we talked about something pre-show, and just full disclosures, as I celebrate 20 years at Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami. And, you know, walk in my office and your brother, I'm glad I didn't get he didn't give me anything to drink. But no, it was just as I walk in and, seeing the staff in my office and it's all decorated. And everybody's like, wow, what a journey. But my bosses, the board co-chairs, had a call with them earlier in the week and they're like, you bring such energy every single day. But that's, once again, if I'm going to step on the court, I'm going to step on the field. If I don't have the energy, coach, don't put me in the game.
Yeah.
And so it's rare, as we talked pre-show, Kayla, it's rare to see someone in one gig. And so people always ask me, what's your next move? What's your next move? I'm having too much fun. Helping kids, helping families. I'm dealing with corporate partners nationally. I'm dealing with, athletes, celebrities. So and I read an article years ago. Nonprofit CEOs sometimes are meeting business leaders that people that work for those companies never get a chance to meet. And I'm in those rooms. So I'm just having too much fun, Kayla. So I hear you.
I think we're exposed when, to your point, in nonprofits, because you have to go to those big companies to ask for resources.
That's our survival.
And funds and donations and, corporate sponsorships, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to be in rooms that I otherwise wouldn't be a part of by being on the legal side. But I don't do this for clout. I don't do this for notoriety. And I think I struggle with that a little bit because a lot of younger college kids and law students people who are learning about this industry, the one that I'm in, the creator economy, or entertainment or sports, and they think it's really glamorous. They think it's really exciting, and I get to go to Cannes Lion and I get to do all these cool things. And I'm like, I could, but I'm not being invited to them as the celebrity or as the influencer. Like, I'm not being paid to go out. I'm not being gifted these opportunities. I would have to pay my own way, and I would gladly do it, and I want to, and I'm planning to do so when I can afford to.
Right.
But I'm not doing this for the notoriety of it. And I think a lot of people want that, the exposure.
Without the hard
work. Or the
work.
followers. They don't want to put in the work. And they don't, and I find it goes back to dance and transferable skills and the mentality, the mindset that I grew up with, that I was given. Not everybody has that. And you can teach it, and it is trainable, but you have to have it in you. Like, and I can't, you either have it or you don't.
That's right.
And like, someone could stoke it and like stoke the flames and build it, but if you don't have it, you don't have it. And I find it very difficult sometimes to mentor people when they want so badly to be where I am, but don't know what it takes. And they'll ask, and I'll tell them, and like, oh, I don't want to do that. And it's like, I work nights and weekends. On family members' birthdays, I might have to go back home and finish working until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I don't want to do this forever. That's not the plan. I'm hiring now, so I don't have to. But my firm is only 4 years old, not even. I'm still in the stage where I have to do it. No one else is going to do it. It's my name on the door. And as the CEO, it's it's not your name on the door necessarily, but it all comes back to you.
That's exactly right.
You're the one that's steering the ship.
Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, when I first met you, I think it was an Impact Circle event.
Yes.
And your confidence, I said, you're going to be on a podcast.
Yeah.
And Brandon introduced us. So you remember that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're going to be on my podcast.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago, I think.
Exactly. But game recognizes game. And when I think about, and you mentioned it, something that I've coached it to in basketball and football, and so, but there's a mentality, and not everybody has it. And it speaks to, and I remember when Shane Battier, NBA champion, he was a NCAA champion at Duke, and in NBA, they call it having that dog. If you got that dog inside of you, there's a fight, there's a grit. I mean, again, you think about the late Kobe Bryant, Mamba mentality. So when I run into business people, just human beings that have that, because you can detect it just like that. I mean, I can pick up a mile away, and I'm like, okay, I could do business with her. I could do business with him. I could work with that person. And there's other people are like, okay, it's too hard. I don't want to do that. Like you just said, it is refreshing to see someone that, because you took it back to mentorship. I would be remiss if we didn't talk mentorship on A Little in Common podcast. You talked about what was instilled in you, not only through dance, but that military mentality, that strategy, that no excuse environment. You use that every day, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I think, so something while you were saying that came to mind, but I was reading about Neymar, Brazil.
Yes.
In this World Cup. They haven't had a good run the last 24 years.
That's right.
Most people's lifetimes, they haven't seen the Brazil that everybody talks about. They just haven't been there.
Yeah.
And then, Portugal, everyone was betting on Ronaldo, but the rest of the team wasn't working together. The USA on Monday did not play well. Ecuador did not play well. They rely on one person in the team. But then Brazil has multiple stars, and they've always had 3 or 4. And they thought, okay, finally getting Neymar off the bench is going to make a difference. But he's not a team player, and he's not disciplined. All the money in the world,
that's right,
all the accolades, everyone, blows smoke and says, you're going to be amazing, you're going to be amazing. But he's never really lived up to that potential. And then it hurts them. Where it really counts, he can't perform. I don't know if it's that everything, the pressure got to him. I really think it's the lack of discipline. And so to your point about dance and that mentality, one of my dance teachers always said to me, and at 16 it hurt, and I hated it. Mm-hmm. But now looking back, I bring it up at least once a year. It has really become something that I one of my mantras, but it's don't be a space filler. And when you think of dance, we dance in windows, and everybody has a spot, and no matter if you're in the third row, your parent can see you because that's what windows is. You dance in a little box, and you're supposed to take up the entire space of that little box, that little window that you're in. And you're supposed to finish the movement, and you're supposed to take up space. And that's what she said. I wasn't finishing my movements. I was cutting myself short. I was cutting myself off too early, and so you didn't see me. I would blend in, and I always was like, why don't I get the solo? Why don't I get the special part that this person gets? And it was because I was the one holding myself back. I wasn't taking up space. But now I apply that to life, where I have to take up space. If I want to be heard, if I want to be seen, if I want to get something done, I have to be the one to do it. Yes, I can delegate. Yes, I can train other people to support me in that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it has to be me. And if I don't finish the thought, if I don't finish the exercise, if I don't, press post on a video, even if I didn't love it, even if it wasn't the best performance that I could have given, but I just showed up, consistency. Like the whole done is better than perfect. It's taking up space. It's showing up, even when it's hard. And, not every day do I get dressed. Not every day do I want to film content. Not every, I was telling, my brother, and I was telling your assistant earlier, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I stayed up until almost 2 o'clock in the morning editing content. And I had to wake up at 6 a.m. to get ready to film all the content that I had prepared. And, I'm not having the most perfect day, but if I would have just been like, nah, let's reschedule, that I'm letting a lot of people down. And so that means I have to show up even when I don't want to. But guess what? I'm glad I did, because I'm enjoying this. And so
this is incredible.
If you don't give yourself the opportunity, if you cut yourself off too early, you're missing out. And I think Neymar, he missed out. And Ronaldo, he got every single award there is to get, but the one that really matters. The most coveted.
Yeah.
And it's not because he didn't perform his heart out. It's because everybody else on the team didn't.
Mm-hmm. As I think about my business journey, and just thank you for just an incredibly organic and authentic conversation today, and your presence. One of the things we talk about in terms of mentorship is you don't have to be perfect. Just be present. And so you never know, just say, you giving me energy. And
I think the right mentors.
Yes. Go ahead.
Bring that out.
They do.
So soccer, I'm really into the World Cup. As you
Let's
can see.
do it. We have to talk World Cup.
In most sports, you think coach, NBA coach, football coach, head coach.
True.
What do soccer players call them? Managers. And there's a difference.
Yeah.
At work, in the office, there's managers, not coaches.
That's
and now
right.
there's this trend of hiring a business coach. I'm like, why would I spend thousands of dollars every month to hire a business coach, someone who's never built the business that I'm building, and their whole job is to be a therapist essentially, but they don't have credentials. I don't really understand business coaches. That's a whole other topic to cover.
That's a separate conversation.
That's another podcast.
Yeah.
But I like the distinction when it came to soccer or sports about coaches versus managers.
Yeah.
A good manager knows who to play when, how, where, and how the players work together. And that's why, going back to Brazil, Ancelotti, everybody was like, he's from Italy, he doesn't understand Brazilian culture. I think he did a really good job with the team that really just didn't have it this year. And they got as far as they could. But coaches, they bring out the best in each individual player, but they don't always know how to make the whole team work together. But a manager's like, I don't care if you don't want to do it. I'm putting you in. Coaches are like, oh, you don't want to sit on the bench? Oh, you're injured? Okay, that's fine. At least that was the analogy that I saw. And I kind of, to an extent, I do kind of agree with that. Managers, they will push you to see more from you than you see of yourself.
That's right.
And a good coach can do that. And that's why, the managers are also coaches. But I think some coaches don't take it to that full extent where they're managing their people effectively. And, in a business setting, that's why there's hierarchy and there's teams and you work together and performance improvement plans. And, it's when you get a PIP, it's not that I don't want you here, you're doing bad. It's I see more from you. You have potential and I want to help build it. Let's put together a procedure in place to get there. And if you don't meet it, then unfortunately we got to talk about it.
That's right. You just talked about the culture at Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami.
Yeah.
Right there. Because it's a championship culture. And no matter, insert any name, Kayla Moran, Law, Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami, any championship team, this is the expectation. And I love the illustration. What's been your best from a team leadership standpoint, whether it's your best World Cup moment, regardless of team, where you just saw that was precision, that was incredible, that was selfless, and it resulted in a goal? Give me that World Cup moment, Kayla Moran.
So I don't know if my brother told you this, but last September, so I'll never forget, last summer, I was pulling my hair out. I was really struggling. I had X amount of money in accounts receivables because it was just me. I was doing everything. And at some point, there is a breaking point. But I've since hired, but at that moment, I was pulling my hair out of like, I don't know if I can continue. I'm doing this all by myself. I have a very supportive family, but at the end of the day, I don't have anyone helping me. I don't have a business partner. I don't have funding. I'm doing it all by myself. And it's a testament to me, but at that moment, I was really kind of like, do I just call it quits? Like, do I go to a quote unquote easier job, a firm where someone's going to tell me what to do and I get a paycheck? Because this is really hard. And right when I was about to say I'm done and I'm over it, and you could ask my brother, you could ask my mom, I got an email and I thought it was spam. But it was from the House of Representatives, the U.S. House of Representatives, Congress. And they were inviting me to testify on Capitol Hill as an expert in the creator economy. And I was one of four, the only lawyer and the youngest person. It was me and another girl and two guys. And we're all different perspectives of the creator economy. But we were invited to Capitol Hill, to the House Small Business Committee, to testify before Congress and educate Congress on what this industry really is and who are the players and what is happening so they could potentially enact policy changes and legislation. And I don't know, nothing has happened yet. I actually just emailed them yesterday. Hey, should we do a part 2? Would love to check in with you guys. I had 11 days to prepare for that. The biggest moment of my career. And I didn't have any money to hire anybody to help me. I needed to write a written testimony that's living on the government website. That's right. And I had to prepare a 5-minute oral testimony. And I had 11 days. And September's also the lead up to my busiest time of year. October's the craziest month because of holiday. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know. And for 11 days, I did not sleep. I was running on fumes trying to get all of my client work done so I could focus on my testimony. And I don't know how many drafts and revisions, but I ultimately went to a couple of recent law school grads that were waiting on bar results to be like, hey, can you draft me like a really rough draft of my written testimony, and then I will polish it up. And we worked it, and I will put your name on it. So their names, a special thank you to, and everybody's name is on there. Other lawyers, other law firms. I created a Google Meet and I just included all of my colleagues. And I was like, if you can show up, show up. If you can't make it, don't worry. But I have this opportunity to represent all of us. So if you have something that you want Congress to know, I will be the mouthpiece. What do you want? And I had like 3 or 4 different lawyers show up. We're all competing for the same clients, but they showed up. and they were there and their names are on that document. And so, you know, I could have been really selfish in that moment and made it all about me. But I knew that there was a bigger opportunity here. And, you know, I've been kind of obnoxious about talking about the fact that I testified on Capitol Hill, and I documented the lead up to it, going to get my hair done. I had to like have an emergency hair appointment. I had to go get my nails done. I had to get an outfit. I documented the whole thing. So I was like, I don't know if I'll ever get to do this again. But the fact that I even got here and everyone's like, how did you do this? Who did you? I had competitors of mine that were not so happy be like, how did you get that? Who did you talk to? How did you get this opportunity? Who did you pitch? I'm like, they came to me.
There you go.
I didn't even know this was an option. And it was at my darkest moment, one of the darkest days in business. The next day I woke up and I was like, I think this is fake, but like, let me schedule a call with her and see. And it wasn't fake. And, you know, I don't know. I think
it's a testament to how you move.
Yeah.
Did you ever get any context on how they got to you?
Yeah, so
you don't
asked,
have to share all the
I asked. And the cool thing was, I don't know that Congress or this committee specifically, the Small Business Committee, was looking to have this specific hearing, but the staffers, you know, 20, 21-year-olds. There
you go.
They're the ones that are they're setting the tone.
They're making the recommendations.
They're making the recommendations. Yeah, someone has to approve it, but they get to, you know, come into the morning meeting and be like, hey, I have some ideas. And then someone's like, all right, let's draft a proposal, a resolution on that. So one of the girls was scrolling on Instagram one day, and a podcast that I was on, and I don't know specifically which one, but a video of me talking came up on her feed. And she was like, who is this girl? And started going through my profile. And it's funny because she didn't follow me at that moment. I followed her after the hearing. So I wish she would have followed me, because I might have had a clue at that point. But she didn't. She was just silently watching me. And so then she reached out when she got it approved, that they're like, yeah, let's see what we can do. I was the first person that they reached out to for that hearing. I got the email on the 2nd. The hearing was on the 17th. So the fact that they basically built it around an idea that she had because she saw my face and my name and me speaking. And I was the first person to say yes. And up until the Monday before, I did not know who the other people were going to be. I had booked a flight to DC not knowing who was going to be sitting next to me.
Well, let me tell you something. That entire journey that you just described, one, the essence of team. And, you know, this whole concept of a team of rivals, like you said, you had folks whose names are on that document that's memorialized in Congress of your testimony, but you thanked people. So there's a time for competition, but you needed help. You asked for it. So in any sport, if you need help, you got some assists from some key people that could be considered your rivals.
I go back to the World Cup.
There it is.
Seeing, you know,
this was your World Cup answer, by the way. I love it. I'm like, where's she going with this? I love it. The essence of team. Bring us home. Wow.
You see, I saw it first with Ecuador, but Ecuador versus Germany. You know, their last game that saved them. Kimmich, I think that's how you pronounce his name, for Germany, had said after in the press conference that him and Hincapié, one of our defenders, they had, you know, there was a foul or they ran into each other, and, you know, when they hugged each other and they like pat each other on the back and like whatever, they said something to each other during the game continued, it ended, and then during the conference he was like, for a second I forgot that we were playing opposite sides. Like I thought we were playing for Arsenal together because they are teammates.
Right.
And you see in the World Cup, teammates for club are against each other for country. Yes. And like at the end of the day, there's a lot of love and respect, and you can tell the ones who don't have it, and they tend to not do as well.
That's right.
And so yeah, I always go back to, you know, we talk about a lot with imposter syndrome, and I think that's something where mentorship is really important. Imposter syndrome, I'm not gonna say that I'm immune to it, because we all have our days and we all have our moments, but I genuinely don't feel that I am in competition with anybody else, because nobody else can do what I do. Nobody else is me. And if people want to compete with me or try to knock me down or, how did you get that, or discredit me, it says more about them.
It does.
Than me. Because I'm living in my own lane. I'm doing my own thing, and I'm not going to stop. Again, if I ever stop having fun, that's when I'll stop. If I don't like something, I change it, I move on. But it's not worth spending time arguing over
Why
it.
waste the energy?
Why waste the energy?
You just quoted Gale Nelson. I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm going to shout out my man Logi, he's cracking up right now, the engineer running this podcast, because I'm sitting there, it's like looking in the mirror, Logi. I'm listening to you quote, and that's exactly right. I don't have time to your negative energy, your competitive energy. I'm just being me. And see, that feedback that you just gave, Kayla Moran, I'm with full government name, you notice that, is so important for the littles that we serve. You be you.
And it's hard. Like, Michelle
I love
Obama, like
that.
when they go low, we go higher.
Yeah.
Like it's that. It's like, it would be so easy, right?
Yeah.
It'd be so easy to go
I'll
low
just
and
clap
hit
back,
them.
but no.
And
Why?
it feels good in the moment.
You wasted energy and time.
Yeah, but then tomorrow you wake up and be like, I shouldn't have done that.
Exactly.
And look, I'm human. It happens. I'm not perfect.
Oh yeah, we
still.
But when Kayla Moran shows up, she's present.
Yeah, and I think that.
Thank you for doing your hair today too.
Thanks. I did not do it myself. I got it done yesterday. Let's make that very clear.
So look at it, give another assist.
Yeah, I cannot do this by myself. But I think, it's really easy to let the negativity win,
Yeah.
and to focus on that. But we're hurting ourselves more, and that's something, I'm not perfect. It's not every day, but I realized quite a while ago that this confidence that I have, that it's so innate, that's what people are attracted
That's
to.
exactly right.
And as a kid, it can still be perceived as cocky or arrogant, and like it can manifest in some negative ways too, but I've learned to own it, and again, mentorship and training. And I have a colleague who I joke that he's like my second dad. My parents are married, they still together, and I very much have a great relationship with my father. But this colleague, he's 20 years older than me almost, and so he is like another father, mentor figure to me. And I think as young women in corporate America, or in the working world, in the workforce, I think there is a lot of people that we do need to be weary of or be afraid of. Their mentorship can very quickly turn into something else, and we know that. And especially with littles and younger, kids, college kids, high school kids, even younger, like we do have to be aware of, who they're learning from and who they're perceiving and what they're getting out of the people around them. But when you find a really good mentor, especially as a young woman who happens to be a father figure, I think the sky's the limit. And I've always been really lucky that I've had really great male professors and male mentors in my life, starting with my dad. I can't say the same for women, and that's really sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. Most of the time, the people who come at you and want to hurt you are women, because they're threatened. And so I grew up struggling with, people thought that my confidence that was so innate, that is now a good thing, that now people want. And they like, how do you do that? It was the same thing that they punished me and chastised me for when I was a kid. And I always was like, I never felt like I was good enough. I never felt like I belonged. So then I needed to have my outlet. I needed to find my own thing. And everyone called me crazy. And this is the story that I was telling you, but the graduation story.
Yeah.
Everyone called me crazy in law school, because they're like, who is this girl? She's spending, she took us student loans. She's in law school and she's blogging, and she like is making money, and she wants to be a lawyer for influencers. What does that even mean? How is she going to do that? Nobody understood. And I had 2 people who believed in me. 3 when we get to the graduation story, but 2 professors, and they're invited to my wedding. Whoever he ends up being, and whenever that wedding ends up happening, they are invited to my wedding, and they know it. And this male colleague is going to be, after the priest, I joke that he will be the unofficial officiant. They're a handful of people that believed in me, but these 2 professors, I chose to write an independent study on why lawyers are needed in the creator economy. It was 2021. I had to pitch it to the school, and the school was like, no. But then they're like, you know what? If this takes off, we will have our name tied to this. So this looks good for us. We'll take it. So it published, and I got published in the Knoxville Bar Association journal, and you know, that was the beginning of me building my reputation and my credibility in this space, and those professors encouraged it. And I still talk to one of them every single month. We have like a coffee chat and we catch up, and now we're friends and mentors. And you know, she's in her 60s, but she is one of the people that I go to for advice about love, about work, about difficult clients, about whatever it may be. But then I also had the dean of my law school. And I didn't realize that because he's the dean, he's like the CEO. He's always running around, he's networking, he's doing donations, he's always a million places at once. So I didn't really know that he was as like in tune with what was happening. But he had been my professor my first year for a class called Lawyering and Professionalism. And I feel like you would love this. They made us do an exercise to write a 5-year plan. And so right around graduation, he remembered what I had written in my 5-year plan. Mind you, I didn't know yet about, like, none of this had happened. None of the content creation stuff. I was blogging, but like TikTok hadn't really been a thing yet. Like 3 years had gone by since I wrote that, and he remembered it. And so he made a point right before graduation to pull me aside and say, you know, I'm really proud of you. Like, you were one of the students that a lot of professors worried about. They thought that you might have gotten distracted, that you weren't, basically no one really expected me to graduate.
This is like the story of Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
I'll
get to that in a second too.
Oh my goodness. Are you Elle? This is so awesome. I mean, because don't you underestimate me, but people were noticing. But go ahead and finish your story. I was thinking it, but I had to say it. I love
think
that.
It goes back to the Capitol Hill thing. Like, you never know who's watching. And I didn't realize that he had been watching all along, and he had remembered what I had written. I wish I can't find it for the life of me. Goodness. I cannot find that document on my computer. I'm really sad because I would have loved to know what 21-year-old me wrote, you know, now 7.5 years later. Because that 5-year plan has now manifested. But he had remembered that. And I was the only student that he hugged when I walked across that stage at graduation.
Wow. You remember that.
And if you look at the video, my little hat almost falls off because I wasn't expecting. Like, I tripped because I went to shake his hand and he pulled me in, and I was like, oh wait, what? And then he hugs me and I was like, oh, okay. And then I had to like walk away. Like, it would happen so fast, but it's on video. And every time he would see me in the hallways, I'd remember he would like look at me and go like this. And I'd be like, what is this guy, like 60-year-old guy, like doing? Like, weird. But that was like his way of being like, I see you and I acknowledge you. And I just thought that was really cool. But to your point about Elle Woods, so in another class in law school, it was called Images of the Law. And so basically we would watch movies and TV shows that either influenced the law and the legal profession or were about the law and the legal profession.
Okay.
So we would watch The Paper Chase. We watched Boston Law. Trying to think, different things like that. But we also watched, of course, Legally Blonde.
Yes.
And believe it or not, I had never seen it. I was 23 years old, about to graduate from law school, and I had never seen Legally Blonde. Not in full. Like, I had seen bits and pieces of it, but I had never seen the whole movie. And because, like everybody else, I was like, why do I want to watch a movie about a blonde girl in law school? Like, I had this negative perception of it. And I don't like the color pink. I never have. So I was like, it's very pink. I don't want to watch it. And I was brat. And so the day that we watched it happened to be the day that we took our composite photos, which are the pictures, the yearbook pictures that hang across, will forever hang in the halls of the University of Tennessee College of Law. So I had taken my photo earlier that day. And it's COVID era, so I have to put a mask on to be in class. So I have like a full face of makeup on, and I'm wearing a suit, and I have a mask on in class. It's like 6 p.m. We're watching this movie, and I am silently bawling my eyes out watching this movie because we have to sit through the whole thing. And I was like one of 3 girls in the class. And so all these guys are like laughing and like watching this movie and like not really understanding it. And I'm over here silently crying hysterically. And so we had to write a paper at the end of the class talking about what movie or movies impacted us the most, or that we took the biggest like takeaway from. And so of course I wrote mine on Legally Blonde. And
I love that.
I can send you the essay because I have it.
I need to see it.
That one I did save. my dad called it the best piece of writing I've ever written. And I was like, with all the essays in my entire life that I've written, that's the best one, really. My professors laughed at me, like, not in a mean way. They were like, really, this is what you, of course, this is you. You chose to write about this. Because now they respect me a lot more. But at the time, they were still a little bit like, I don't know about this. Now they all follow me and they support me and they're incredible on Facebook and on LinkedIn. They're very, like, they're great. I have to say, like, I truly won the lottery with my professors. But they were definitely like, this is, I'm skeptical. But they were really impressed with it because I took out the nuance of what the movie's trying to do. And so it's unapologetically pink, the 4 lessons that we could all learn from Elle Woods, is what I called it. And yeah, I'll send it to you. But that movie really, I think, set off the trajectory that I was already on it, but I think catapulted it, because my biggest takeaway is you don't have to stop being yourself.
That's right. In
the legal profession or in any career that you choose. Like, that's your superpower, is, mental health or your injury or your circumstances, wherever you came from, whatever got you to this point. It's how you follow through, how you take up space, how you finish, not how you started. We all start from different places, but it's what you do with that. And, everybody discredited her. Nobody thought that she, she's talking about hair products on the stand. What is she doing?
She used it and
she knew the deal. That was the whole case turned on. Right.
Wait, if you got a perm.
Yeah, you can't take a shower.
You didn't take a boom. And so now the legal expert, so we could talk, we're going to have to do another podcast just about breaking down Legally Blonde. I will read your essay. We will break it, and so we're going to talk about it. Kayla Moran, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Unscripted, authentic, energetic, and just, my goodness. And as you were talking, I went there. I'm like, wait a minute, this is Legally Blonde. As you told your story, it took me there. Clearly, I watched the movie. Yeah. So it is a pleasure to have you in the Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami network. Adore your family. Thank you for just being authentically you.
Thank you. I don't do these as often anymore, but I love conversations like this, and I always love getting to kind of reminisce on those key moments, because it's so easy to get caught up in the everyday and the now and the here, and you forget where you came from. So I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm excited. Hopefully we do get to do a part 2.
We're going to do it again, and so this is you with a little bit of sleep. I can only imagine the kind of energy you're going to bring. Yeah. But thank you for the time, and as we think about whether it's Legally Blonde, whether it's walking across a graduation stage, being a big, being a little, just being authentically you, we all have a little in common. You never know who's watching. Let's go.